What about the game volume?
Everything is fine except for Pyko. Pyko is irritating.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
It's
alright,
not
so
bad.
we are back with game 2.
And we are joined by special guest Jimbo Bob casting with
Yes, I'm
us.
supposed to be here actually. I just never.
Alright, so what
I'm
mistakes...
back.
Special guest King Clueless.
Yeah, he's the special guest.
Alright, what is Team Goys looking to do here to make
Win.
up for their mistakes?
Win.
Don't. Let's not int early.
So in a more analytic type of tone, Goys really was looking to try and get more communication in those comps. It looked like a lot of those team fights were just a mixture of communication. Some people saying go in, some people saying go out, and other people just not knowing what to do in between. The only reason that game was really so close was because of the mechanical brilliance of Stormark and Dumping Potato managing to dish out damage in those crucial moments, trying to pick up those carries on Sucheng, onto Sikta. But other than that, these team fights would seem very uncoordinated on the chair of Goys. Meanwhile, you have the Cloudy Smile, where yes, they did manage to win a lot of those team fights, but if they did not manage to win the team fight outright in the first, say, 10 seconds, they sort of fell apart that, and that sort of shows the mentality that they have the foot on the gas and they don't really know how to put the brakes on.
I really think had Cindy Jang played more around that mid lane, maybe was a bit more aggressive in those ganks, she should have been able to get Dumping Potato a sufficient enough lead to the point where he actually can keep Sikdot pushed in and can go roam to his bot lane. I do think Luke Claw did have a pretty decent lane against IW. He did not actually get solo killed, he was just kind of passively tempoing the lane out.
Yeah, but in Luke Claw's defense, I don't really see a way their Malphite can really outlane the Garen in terms of damage or pressure. And in Cindy Jang's defense, Dumping Potato can't really outroam a Twisted Fate with his ultimate up at every few minutes or so. So
Right,
I think the best that they could have done there was try to organize those team fights more, get those 5v5s into more decisive wins instead of X-Stormer just popping off every now and then.
I definitely think that Goys is looking to ban out Ura and Sikdot here. I think those are the main players right now.
And in return,
we didn't actually see Sucheng in a really kind of like tight bottom, or a really advantageous bottom lane. It was incredibly even up until Xtormac actually fell to a really nice engage by Ziploc back. I think if anything, what you're looking to do here is take away Ura's Pike as well as the Kane.
Tolerate cowardice.
I really don't agree with this Darius ban here from IW.
yeah, and if you're looking on the side of Cloudy Smiles, in terms of bans, you really just gotta give Xtormark that respect. You know, a lot of those team fights were given simply because Xtormark had that Vayne and had the experience on that champion. So in this ban phase, I'm hoping to see a Vayne ban and that they're pinching out some of Scramwell's champions to try and get that bot lane advantage. We see the Kane Vayne, that Kane ban that you were talking about, and that shows respect towards URA. And
Alright, what you are looking for here, though, is the fact that now Cloudy Smile has the first pick. They're on blue side. They can actually first pick Kai'Sa here.
they could, and if they ban Vayne here, the Kai'Sa pick would pretty much be guaranteed. Instead, they're going to choose to ban out the Malphite, not sure about that one. And in return, blue team here should try to ban out some form of jungler. So one would be Pyke, another one would be something that Euroa's been pretty... Yep, there's the Pyke respect
there's the
pick.
Pyke, man. So we should be seeing the Kai'Sa getting picked up for Sucheng here.
Instead, we're going to see
not.
the Garen pick. I don't really see the point in this, considering Luke Claw isn't really much of a Garen player himself. I do see the fact that you are down on your champion pool or being pinched out with a Darius ban, but I really don't think that this should be a first tier ban.
Alright, what
or pick.
Xtormark should be looking for here is the actual 1v5 carry. They should be picking up Kai'Sa in this rotation.
They could pick up Kai'Sa, or another thing that they could pick up is their support and their jungler. Instead, they're going to pick up their top lane Nard. That's going to be a more advantageous lane for Luke Claw, trying to push that in more efficiently, get a bigger lead. And Cindy Jang could either pick his jungle, or he could pick Xtormark's AD carry. I am expecting the jungle pick here.
Looking at
Okay, so Lee Sin going over to Cindy Jang. Chris, go ahead.
looking at Cloudy Team's picks and bans, it looks like they just want to repeat the what happened last game. I think they're like really onto like keeping up their performance, but I feel like Goys is just being pressured to pick like picks that aren't comfortable with, and I think that's making this like a really awkward game, especially because like the gap is pretty big between the junglers and just really the teams in general.
Sick Dot picking up the Zed. That's both a pickup and a takeaway from Dumping Potato. In terms of Goys, I'm thinking that they should just lock in their either AD carry or mid. Mid could be locked in here, seeing that they have seen the enemy mid.
Ooh,
So this
the
could be a
Ahri
counter
here.
pick coming in.
I
I'm not
don't
too sure about
agree
the
with
Ahri.
this Ahri.
Ahri is locked
Yeah,
in. That's really kind of interesting, considering that Ahri doesn't really go well into Zed. At best, it goes even if the skill permits it.
Not only that, but Yura and Sickdot are both on these extremely snowballing hyper carry assassins. What they're looking for here are really, they're looking for mobile lanes to gank in the early game, and that's exactly what Ahri is. Pre-6, she has almost no mobility whatsoever. Once Yura is able, Yura starts that red buff in the blue side, he should be able to just go mid-level 2 and instantly get Dumping Potato Splash.
Yeah, and the thing about this second half of the ban phase, only the AD carries and the supports are left up, so this is going to be a lot of pinching on the champion pools. Xayah has already been banned, as Chris has said before, Morgana being banned in return, and it looks like if blue team had been trying to, or red team, sorry, if Goys are trying to pinch some of that support matchups, they should try and take out the reconnaissance that was a very vital part of the engage. Instead, they're going to take out the Alistar.
Right. I
Also,
definitely
when
think
engage support,
that Goys here have just completely lost this draft, because I actually was looking to see in the first pick that they had, the Luke Claw and Sydney Jang's picks, I wanted to see Morgana and I wanted to see
I
Kaisa.
bent around at the final of the ban
Yeah,
phase.
I was thinking the same exact thing actually, Nate.
Right.
Like they're playing on like a full AD team comp here, and they don't really have much to respond to that.
So, what this basically boils down to, I don't think that Callista's pick's gonna go through.
What I'm looking for here is I'm looking for Draven. I want X-Stormer
this
to
would
pick
be-
up Draven here.
I
And it
really
is Draven.
Draven's
Okay,
gonna be
alright,
locked
Draven.
in. That is a very heavily carry pick.
Kai'Sa's
That could
actually still
easily
open.
1v9 if he managed to get picked.
Draven
I don't
is
think they'll-
actually the only AD carry I think that can stand up to Kha'Zix and Zed, other than perhaps Vayne and Lucian.
The problem with Draven is that it's very performance heavy. You can't just pick up Draven and just have an average performance. You either carry hard or you just become in like absolutely zero presence in the lane.
You know what?
So they're gonna
I
pick up
think it's come
Lucian.
to a point where X-Storm is ready to take that risk. I was really hoping to see like a Kaisa or Aatrox or an Urgot pick to make
It looks like-
but yeah, they're not picking like any
Yeah, instead Cloudy
dominant
Smile
picks
is
this time.
opting to pick more of a passive lane, Lucian for keeping
No,
that lane
that's
sort of pushed
actually
up.
the perfect lane I think to pick into Draven, because you have the Tark stun, you have the Lucian mobility, who can actually outmaneuver the Draven here, because he's really similar to Vayne in that sense. So what you see here from the side of Cloudy Smile is this really heavy early game AD comp. They have no AP whatsoever, but what they do have is this incredible snowballing. If they get even one kill in the mid lane, that should be the end of the lane for Dumping Potato. Then Sickdot should actually be able to roam down into the bot lane, into the top lane, and just completely cut off these lanes. I don't like the Tom Kench pick from the side of Goys. I think what they should have been looking for is a lot more heavy engage here. They should have maybe Alistar did get banned out, but they're looking for someone with hard CC. I think they should have picked up Thresh, maybe Blitzcrank. But Tom Kench is not the right pick here, because you don't have that hyper carry ADC that you need to pull out.
I feel like Tom Kench isn't that bad of a pick, considering that you do have the Yara, you have the Draven, you have all of these squishy targets that you need to protect from the Zed all-in, the Kha'Zix all-in, and that if you manage... You have to remember that Tom Kench's Devourer is a 2-second invulnerability that can just completely negate unengaged if you're looking for it. In terms of team comps, Goys has to sort of split push team comp. You have Nara in the top lane, you have Ahri in the side lane, and you have Tompkins, Draven, and Lee Sin in the mid lane. They're looking to make this 1v1-3-1 happen. They're looking to try and make sure that they can get blue team to sort of split up and just take these secluded fights and skirmishes. Meanwhile, on blue team, they are really just embracing the foot on the gas pedal here. They just really just want to make the early game just snowball out of control, take these towers, take these objectives, and just sort of take this game before it hits 30 minutes, before those armor items start coming in. So if blue team, if Cloudy Smile does manage to get those leads, they do have a tank, they do have those 80 leads, and they will be starting to melt turrets. But in response to that, Big Boys does have Gnar, who becomes a pseudo tank in the late game. They have Tom Kench, who pretty much is just the insurance card on that Draven. And they have Ari, who has 3 dashes, Lee Sin, very mobile. So really this game just comes down to, once again, who can perform better onto their win conditions.
I totally agree. Cloudy Smile is totally going for like an all like 80 assassin like engage kind of team comp, and Goys has some disengage. I'm not sure if that was intentional. They do have some disengage and counter engage from like Ari's charm. Don't think that's really a disengage, but yeah.
I think definitely what they're looking for here is a pick comp. What they want is they want that early pressure from Lee Sin into this bot lane, because Lucian is a relatively squishy ADC. They want Draven to get rolling as fast as he can before that Taric ulti just completely denies the damage. And then once you actually get into this mid-macro game, what you're looking for is the Ari pick and the Lee Sin pick. You're not ever looking for like an extended long team fight here, because those assassins on the side of Cloudy Smile will just absolutely shred your carries.
Yeah, Big Boys don't have too much CC to deal with their engage and dive. I think that's like Ari's E is gonna be like really important in this game. She lands on Zed or Kha'Zix, and they actually might like win team fights just from that. But yeah, I think it's kind of punishing because Big Boys don't have very good tanks or any reliable CC for their assassin comp.
So, one thing I really want to put a point onto is the jungle matchup. You have Sydney Jang on Lee Sin versus Yuri on Kha'Zix. Sydney Jang is already quite outclassed in the jungle, as we could see from last game. Not only did he put himself into a losing matchup, he put himself into a pick which requires a lot of mechanical brilliance just to pull off decently, let alone just get ahead in. So what do you guys think of Sydney Jang picking up Lee Sin? Do you think this is a smart pick? Do you think he can perform it? Or do you think this is just a result Cloudy Smile is pinching out his champion pool too much?
This is a matchup that is like you said, it's almost entirely skill reliant. What you are looking for here is, in a traditional matchup, Lee Sin just completely outstyles Kha'Zix in the early game and the mid game. Towards the late game, once Kha'Zix actually is able to pick up maybe the Black Cleaver as well as the Dustblade, he is able to outdamage the Lee Sin. But until then, Kha'Zix is a squishy assassin. Lee Sin's combo has range and it has burst. He should be able to beat Kha'Zix in any 1v1. So Yura, we saw in the last game, he started his topside buff, rotated to the bot lane, was able to pick up that bot crab, and that's exactly what he's looking to do again. He doesn't want to meet Lee Sin in that early game stage. What he wants is to be able to freely farm his jungle, then move to the crabs and just trade camps with Sydney Jang. But we saw Sydney Jang in the last game. His early game was pretty good. He got a really nice gank into the mid lane, getting the flash early, but aside from that, he never actually invaded into the enemy jungle. He never actually made a proactive play. All he did was kind of play in response to Yura. So this game, we need to see a change, or Yura will just completely dominate like we saw in the last game.
I'm actually pretty excited to see Lee Sin gameplay here. I've never really seen Sydney Jang play Lee Sin before, but it is always a pretty fun pick to watch in the jungle, and I think it's really up to him to help prevent the snowball from the blue team early on.
You say fun, I say entertaining. This could either snowball out of control, or this could snowball into.
I'm ready to see some plays from Lee Sin. I haven't seen any Lee Sins yet.
If Bay Goys messes up one time, this game is going completely out of control. If you give one kill over to Yura or Sigdot, they should just be able to instantly shut down mid and then move over into the bot lane. And once you get those Draven stacks out of the way, it's just over for that champion.
Yeah, that's very true.
I agree that should be how it is, but let's be real here. In this series so far, from what we've seen, there is no form of coordination. There is no form of sort of teamwork that we've seen so far. This is just a full-on slugfest. Whoever hits harder and whoever can take the hits best will just win out the rest of the game. So even if you make those mistakes, I can see this game going beyond 40 minutes.
Alright,
Just
so
from
we saw
pure-
this in the first game, and I think we're going to see it in the second game. This is an extremely 2v2 mid-jungle skirmish comp. This is what we're looking at. We're looking at where Sydney Jang will start, where URO will start, and we should see that Dumping Potato should be able to shove in Sickdot. But the moment that Sickdot actually gets a kill advantage, Dumping Potato loses that wave clear pressure.
So from what we can see, URA is taking his red button and goes immediately to his wolves. No, he's actually not going to his wolves, he's going straight to blue. So this is a buff to buff, and if I can think about what URA would do next year, I believe that he would either go Scuttle Crab or that he would go into the enemy's red buff.
No, he would
to try and
definitely.
contest that.
He doesn't want to go into enemy red buff because of the fact that he loses the early game to Sydney Jang. I really don't like Sydney Jang's clear here.
And we have a pause 2 minutes into the game.
Support ping issues.
I just noticed that Ari took Comet. I wonder if your charm actually pulls Maverick every Comet.
I don't believe so. I don't think it's... I think you're slowed long enough so that the comet will land.
I think Ari loses a lot of damage potential by taking Comets to electrocute.
Alright,
She maintains the over time damage, but she does lose burst. in
Yeah, I
terms
think
of-
Electrocute is definitely better here than Arcane Comet.
Yeah, especially when you're considering that they're going to be skirmishing in the mid 2v2 quite a bit, considering that Lee Sin and Kha'Zix are both looking to make plays early on.
Yeah, that and also with the fact that there's just so much mobility here from almost every single champion here. Like
Yeah, and that,
Lucian has a
you're
dash, Zed has a dash, he has an invulnerability or an untargetable. Kha'Zix has the ultimate speed boost as well as the leap.
that and Lee Sin really requires... If you're not very comfortable in Lee Sin, if you're not very familiar with the champion, he really requires the CC from his team to sort of back him up, to sort of allow him to land those skill shots much more easier. So,
But going back to Sydney Jang's clear here, I really don't agree with the way that he cleared his jungle. He went from blue to wolves and then to red. That doesn't actually get you level 3. It gets you like a minion's worth of XP below level 3. So now Yura is able to take this top crab that he actually shouldn't be able to take. Because if Sydney Jang had just cleared normally, then what should have happened is that he finished his red buff earlier than Yura and was able to move to that top crab. But now Yura comes out on top, takes that top crab that he never should have been able to.
yeah, and if you're Sydney Jang here, I think that the most appropriate move is to immediately just start pathing towards bot, try to get that bot Scuttle Crab, and just try to make something happen bot. Draven is a very snowball lane. If you can get this lane rolling on early on, then you can sort of just make that the pinpoint of this game and just corrects the game out of control from that single point. But it looks like Lee Sin's preferring to just stay on Raptors, try and get level 3, get XP as much as possible. From the bot lane, we can see that Xstormark is putting some decent poke onto Sunchen, getting some axe auto attacks here whenever he can.
Sydney... Whoa! Sigda used his shadow really aggressively here. The Q lands.
King managed to go
And
in.
that might
Nice.
actually be first blood. The Ignite
Ignite
should be able
might
to
go
take him down. That is first blood. So Sigdot punished incredibly hard just for using that Living Shadow aggressively.
Kha'Zix is coming top right now.
URL looking for the gank here onto Luclaw. Luclaw still has the jump
the jump
up.
right into
Whoa,
the
the
Kha'Zix.
jump fails. And the flash
I don't think
follow up
that
from
flash-
URL.
Yeah, that's really important for both teams. You get a lead into the Garen where he's in a losing matchup. He really needs that gold. He really needs that ability to sort of push out. And in terms of Goys, you get that lead onto the Ahri, and you not only get that kill onto the Ahri, you manage to get the flash out of the Zed. So that's a really huge lead that you get for your mid lane. So in terms of overall map pressure, Goys did manage to get more out of that. But in terms of the side lane pressure, you do have the Garen now with a assist. And Kha'Zix also gets the kill, so he's going to be snowballing a little bit more into this game.
Actually surprised Nard is saving his TP for a possible play maybe within the next 5 minutes. So TPing back to lane to get that wave.
I mean, the wave was pushing into him. I don't think he was really hard pressed into it. We see Lee Sin in the bot lane, just shadowing the lane, making sure that nothing too bad can happen here. Stormark still getting some pressure here. And from what we see, Draven is actually a kind of pocket pick for Xstormark. I don't think I've seen any other AD carry in this tournament, nor any AD carry in the league kind of play this champion to the extent that Xstormark does.
But now we see that the bottom crab is going over to Sydney Jang. So the crabs have been equally exchanged here.
That's very important for the jungle matchup, considering that these crabs do give quite a sizable amount of XP and gold now.
Alright, so now Yura in this tribush, they actually do have vision of him. That tribush is warded. Yura doesn't know yet.
So what Bagoys could be doing here is that they can try to bait out this fight here, and they could try to just bait.
And it looks like a bait here. Okay, Yura is flashless.
Yura is gonna get taken down by the Extormark. He's gonna get the cash in, and it looks like that's just gonna be a 1-for-0 trade. He's gonna get some more poke
this
onto
is
the
the
Ziploc
start
bag,
of
but that's just
Extormark's
gonna be it.
Draven.
Extormark. Not only is he up 13 CS in terms of the lane, he manages to get a major cash in early on in the game. That's exactly what Bagoys are looking for in this early game team comp.
It's 6 minutes into the game, and it's 1,000 gold lead. He should be he is sitting on 2,200 gold here. He should actually be able to base, and
Extormark can back right now and buy not only just a BF sword, a BF sword
and a BF sword, right? Yeah.
He can get it, or he can get a BF sword and a vampire scepter to basically keep him in this lane forever.
I do think what you are looking for here, though, as Draven, is the Stormrazor first item as opposed to the Bloodthirster. But that early cash in, that is just so crucial for Bagoys here.
Yeah, and you gotta say that's really good vision play, considering that they had that vision in the tri-brush and they played around it accordingly. They pushed up a little bit, tried to bait out URA into a gank, which would have obviously failed, and really mechanically brilliant from Extormark to use the stand aside to knock URA out of his jump. So really well played from everybody in that sort of skirmish there. If we look at the top side, we can see that Luke Claw is 10 CS down, but he does have a massive wave pushing into him, so it looks like that will be pretty squared up. In terms of bot lane, Extormark does go back, gets the BF sword, double long swords, and a dagger. That is a massive buy just from a single back at 7 minutes.
And Sunsheng, he has a Bilgewater Cutlass. That is nothing compared to the AD that Extormark just bought.
And you really just gotta consider, was Lucian the best pick into the situation? Lucian will not be able to contest Draven if he ever decides. And we have a second pause here, it looks like.
2,000 ping on Ziploc bag.
Yep. Unfortunate.
Not the best, but...
I think Cloudy Smile has to make some kind of play here because they're not really getting the advantage that their team comp needs this early on.
Right.
And if he keeps going this like this, and I'm pretty sure that it'll be way too late to build some kind of advantage.
Yeah, and Extormark should just be able to kind of run through this bot lane with this AD advantage he has now. If he somehow chooses to like freeze the lane or play really passively along those lines, that is just this 1,000 gold lead just going to absolute waste here. And Sydney Jang is pathing towards his blue buff.
So what Signy Jin can do here is that he can path toward his buff, go towards bot lane, try to get something happening there. They don't even have to kill the bot lane. They just have to push them in the turret, and then they can rotate into the dragon and pick that up. And if they do this, they not only get the dragon, they not only get a sizable pressure into the bot lane, but they basically set down the statement saying that we can go toe-to-toe with this team comp. We can go toe-to-toe with this early game skirmish, and we can come out on top.
Not even that, but if Sydney Jing actually shows bot lane, because Yura is in the bottom lane as well, there's going to be no cross-map pressure onto top lane. Luke Claw's just free to push right now. They actually don't have vision onto Yura.
Stormark trying to walk up, trying to get some poke down there.
Right, they are really pushed up here. If Yura were to gank, Sydney Jing is way too far here, so Stormark does need to play a little bit further back, but he still has Scramwild to kind of get him out of these situations.
Sydney Jang is roaming down towards the tri-bush.
Okay, so Yura is actually basing here. And now Sydney Jang may be setting up for a dive.
They could try to dive here, but Lucian does have the culling. Culling goes out, nothing comes out of it.
And here comes the ultimate, the flash kick from Sydney Jang, so
beautiful here. That's going to be Scramble picking that up. Not really this passion that they really need, but that's going to be enough to get down that possible turret down.
And that was incredibly clean execution from Sydney Jang. And that will be first tower as well.
Ziploc tries to dissuade him, but it looks like they will not be dissuaded from this turret. First turret going to go down for red team. It's not going to be piled onto Stormark. It's going to be shared among the three of them.
And things are looking so good now for Cloudy Smart.
That might actually make a look fair here.
Zed goes in, ulti onto the Yara. He manages to get the Living Shadow. Final proc on the passive. and he manages to pick up the solo kill onto the Ari. Ignite goes down, but it looks like nothing else will come out of that. Ignite also goes down on the Signy Jang from Ziploc bag, and it looks like they're going to be walking out of that pretty safely.
So pretty well played there by Sickdot, getting that solo kill. Styling on
Kha'Zix trying to
Whoa,
get some-
URL, a
Oh,
little
he's
bit
gonna
out of
pull out.
position here, definitely.
It's like he's
Very aggressive play, especially considering that your bot lane isn't really in a position to back you up if things go south.
One thing Ari should have stayed in lane there when she had no mana and she was pretty low. Because I really feel like they should should be playing a way where they would have the least risk of giving any kind of advantages, especially against their team comp. And they were already in a pretty good spot. Their goalie is also pretty decent right now.
Alright, so
Yeah, if you're Big Boys, if you have a lead right now, you just want to play passively and just let that lead extend into the mid game. You don't lose mid to late game. You have the team with the AP champion. You have the team with the tanks. If you can stall this game until 35 minutes with the lead that you've accumulated this far, you can win this game pretty easily.
Exactly.
But we are seeing now that X Stormark is sitting on a 10-minute Storm Razor. Those are some big crits now.
He is currently 1,000 gold up on the Lucian.
I really don't like the fact that they chose to keep X Stormark in the bot lane. I do think that they should have started to send him mid so that they can help Dumping Potato open up this mid lane a little bit.
Yeah, send him mid or top.
Sickdot, his ultimate is just about to come up.
Dumping Potato doesn't
And
have
Dumping
ultimate
Potato
up.
doesn't have ultimate either. He does have flash.
Looks like Zed's gonna go in. He's
comes
gonna
a
try to
follow-up
get the
ultimate.
ultimate off. He does use the storm, but it doesn't look like anything's gonna come out of it. Ura goes forward, manages to pick up the kill. Sinny Jang left there standing in awe, wondering what happened to his mid laner as blue team back out, and that's gonna be a free kill.
And now we see that X Stormark moving up into this mid lane. This is something that should have happened a while ago before Dumping Potato actually lost and gave up 2 solo kills.
But this is what we wanted to see from Red Team regardless. You do want to see...
Oh, and here comes
Sinny Jang goes
Sinny
in,
Jang.
managed to get the kill.
Very nice movement
That's going to
there.
be a very good play and a very bad play from their respective champions. And it looks like Lucian tries to walk up, tries to get a return kill, but it doesn't look like anything's going to happen.
Going to the Draven here, and Draven's gonna flash out.
Not
I'm
sure
actually
if that
pretty-
flash was quite needed.
Pretty
No, it
happy
was
with
pretty
the plays
neat.
that Lee Sin is
Hopkins
making
had
here.
just used Devour onto the Lee Sin.
Right, Sinny
Like I
Jang
said, I
is
wanted to
actually...
see Lee Sin make some plays, and he
Luke
is.
Claw
Oh,
trading with iDunk. iDunk tries to go on the Luke Claw. Luke Claw is going to get the third hit onto the passive. He's going to try to get some more out of that, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get anything off of that trade.
looks like Kha'Zix is gonna solo the dragon, but Lisa's gonna come in on just to clean this up. Actually, thanks for leaving.
Kha'Zix is around Dragon, but he doesn't have anybody backing him up here. If he decides to go in, he's going to be bursted down immediately. It looks like Luke Claw and iDunk is going to be trading top lane. It looks like Dragon's going to go down to Red Team as Luke Claw goes onto iDunk. iDunk goes forward. He manages to get the ulti off. He gets a pick onto Dinar, and it looks like Kha'Zix will be living with a sliver of HP.
Alright, so a lot happened there.
For Red Team, and a pick goes for top lane.
So Luke Claw goes down solo to iDunk, and Dumping Potato almost actually solos Yura. Yura actually lived there with, I think, 5 HP.
Yeah.
But now we see Sinny Jang moving into this top lane. Sinny Jang does not have ultimate, so I'm not really sure if he will be able to kill Dumping, or
Yeah, looks like he's.
iDunk.
He doesn't need to
The wave,
kill us
yeah.
per se. He just needs to clear the wave. And this is kind of what you want to see. You want to see your mid lane. You want to see your bot lane getting ahead in these lanes. Mid lane's really just kind of even, but that's better than being behind. But what you're really looking for on the team of Goys is this Draven. He is just snowballing so far out of control. Still 700 gold up onto his counterpart. He's going to go back. He's going to pick up his boots. And it looks like he's going to just farm even further ahead.
Alright, the problem with
And-
this though is that Draven was up 1,000 gold in the early game, and now he's up 700. So this shows that we have like a kind of a lower prioritization around this Draven here, because what you should be doing as Goys here is you should be sending your Draven into the mid lane and just putting everything into him, because he has that Storm Razor now. That's as the time goes on, that Storm Razor starts to lose less and less priority. Like at
And
the
here we go. We see Gang onto the mid lane. Sinny Jang goes in. Miss everything.
Oh my
Gonna
god, that
get
was a
taken down,
clean
and
play by Zed.
looks like Dumping Potato's not going to be able to get anything out of that. Charm goes out, but it doesn't look like anything's going to come in return. The Claw trying to get some trades onto iDunk, but it doesn't look like anything else is going to happen. A 1-for-0 trade going in favor of Red
That
Team.
was actually really well played by Zed. Just a quick combo there, and there was like absolutely no reaction from Ari and Zed. Ari wants to charm onto Kha'Zix, but doesn't really do much.
Alright, but this is what I was talking about before, because Stormark, he had that Storm Razor at the 9-minute mark, right? And that is an incredibly deadly item at the 9-minute mark.
Yeah, yeah.
But now
Luke Claw goes
it's
on to
14
IDQ,
minutes
puts
in.
the ulti down. It doesn't look like IDQ is going to be able to take down though. Luke Claw getting some priority in this lane, and that's really surprising considering. Oh, Kha'Zix stop.
Here comes URA. Flash forced out of Blue Claw.
Gets the Q off. He manages the Blue Claw, jumps out, but he dies under turret. This is a slow going down. IDQ's looking for
wow.
flashes. He auto attacks the turret. He doesn't have ultimate. He's not going to be able to get it. And that looks like it's going to be Blue Claw getting a kill on IDQ on a flubbed dive. And it looks like Cindy Jang's going to be pushed down bot side, trying to get some pressure down here as well. A massive play coming out of Blue Claw and a massive misplay coming out of IDQ.
Kansas is not done yet. He wants
Here
to
comes
avenge
URA.
Garen.
Uh-oh, don't face check the bush, don't face check the bush. It looks like he's going to be taken down, and immediately, not even a minute passes, and he's taken down for the retribution kill. 1 for 1 in the top side.
I think Garen was really desperate to make some kind of play. Like I said, they need to get some kind of...
Cindy Jang
Here
goes
comes
in.
the play in Cindy Jang.
Trying to get
Ooh, the
flash
flash
kick
kick
goes
not
off.
quite landing.
Soon
Suncheng
Chang
able to dodge out of that one, but
Soon
Suncheng's so low here.
Soon Chang
I
goes
think that
down.
they should be able to pick up Ziploc bag. The
Circle to confront Ziploc bag.
Radiance
Flashes out. 2
is going to
flashes.
save them.
Flash for flash. Cindy Jang goes forward.
But again,
Ziploc
this
bag
is what I'm
flashes
talking
out.
about. They made
Sick
a
dot comes down bot. You see him on the side. There's a ward discovering him, and it looks like he's going to be able to back off. And it looks like not much else happens bot side other than attempts to try and kill the Lucian again.
But this is what we were talking about. You want to have these proactive plays around your snowballing Draven here. But this is the first play that they've made in the last 6 minutes.
He's gonna throw the ignite. Ari's gonna use Zhonya's. Misses the Q time. I think Ari actually just might walk out this one.
Sick Dot in hot pursuit. Does have the Living Shadow up.
Not gonna go for it. The dive would have been suicidal considering Ari still does have the ignite and this Foxfire.
But here's what we are seeing. We are seeing Stormark's Draven start to, as the game goes longer and longer, his Draven is starting to lose priority.
Yeah,
This is how you
1,000
lose the game as Goys.
He's now dropped to 500. He's down half of what he had earlier on in the game. Cindy Jane taken down below half HP, doing a simple combo sick dot. And right now this game sort of lulled itself into a sort of stasis right now. Both teams trying to farm out, both teams trying to get some sort of priority onto anything that they can try and get lead out of. Bot lane trying to just keep this lane pushed, trying to keep some sort of semblance of control, but it looks like they sort of just lost all priority.
I definitely wanted to see more proactivity out of the bottom lane here. I wanted to see Dumping Potato shove in Sick Dot and start to roam with his jungler, but we just couldn't see that happen because of the fact that the mid lane gap was just so big here, because we saw that solo kill coming down first, and now we see that Sick Dot just has this incredible amount of pressure onto Dumping Potato. Like, Dumping Potato can't even walk up for farm. But here comes Sydney Jang looking for the gank onto IDQ.
Lands the Q, gets the ward hop, gets the kick back, and it looks like IDQ is going to be in serious trouble right now. Gets the massive Mega Gnar, goes out, and it looks like it's going to be a kill going over to Luke Claw. A much needed gold going straight to the top laner, the split pusher of the team.
I think the bigger reason why Mid hasn't been able to shove is that if you look at the vision, they still don't have much vision. Like, even from like last game, like there's not much vision on the map, especially like in the river.
Right. You just don't know where URA is.
Yeah, you don't know where Calyx is. So if you don't know where Calyx is, it's kind of scary for Mid to roam. And I don't. Yeah, no one is really investing in like control wards and stuff. Past few games actually.
In terms of vision, red team. Oh, it looks
Okay,
like
here comes the. Not quite an aggressive ultimate here. Maybe just looking to pick up the wave. Again, this is what I'm talking about. Stormark has this lead. You want to utilize this lead, but it's just not happening.
So back to the topic of vision. Red team has a lot of vision on the top side, but it isn't really useful vision. This is what we call luxury vision, which is like you have it just to say that you have some wards onto the map. What you really need is vision onto the entrances of the river.
Right, here comes Stormark looking to aggressively here onto Suncheng. Sydney Jang taking it so low.
The vision that you really need is just the vision on the enemy jungle. You need a bead on where the Kha'Zix is at all times to prevent any form of ganks, any form of leads being accumulated further ahead.
Lisa might coming for the counter gank here.
So Goys actually do have vision of URA right now. And here comes Luke Claw. Dumping Potato still has his Zhonya's up.
Dumping Potato goes forward. He uses the ulti onto Luke Claw. Luke Claw manages to turn it around. He goes forward, lands the Q. He kicks Kha'Zix into the middle. Kha'Zix jumps backwards toward his turret, and it looks like nothing else will come out of that. A 1-for-0 trade going over in favor of the red team.
Yeah, that was a pretty good counter gank from Gnar and Lee Sin there. Oh,
I got a
that is
question
what
to Zed's priority towards the ulti. Instead of ulting the Ahri nor the Lee Sin, he decides to ulti towards the sort of
I do
tanky
think
Gnar.
that he was out of range of Sydney Jing, but as far as not ulting Ahri, it is because the Ahri has Zanya's.
Zanya's, yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like he could just turn around and just use the death mark onto the Sydney Jang.
I definitely think it was a little bit of an overstay there from Ura. He should have kind of had that intuition to understand that Big Goys had vision of him in that bush.
But
Ura
since he
was
has the
nearing
retro,
the
it's
completion of his first
good
lethality
work.
item. Now, something I want to bring to attention to you guys is Sydney Jang has boots of mobility. What do you think of that?
I do think that Sydney Jang has been playing a much more proactive role this game as opposed to the Zhao game, so I'm not entirely against that boots of mobility. We saw him come down in the early game for that first kill to get extra mark rolling, then we saw him in the top lane getting that kill
Would
onto
you say
IQ.
But would you say this proactivity is worth forgoing, say, Ninja Tabi against a full AD team?
Yes, because I don't actually think that Sydney
looks like
Jang
they're gonna
is...
go on to
Okay,
fight.
here comes a fight. Ziploc back, popping that Radiance
Oh, no, it
early.
looks
It's
like he's
only
gonna
going to
get the
be a
ulti down.
one-man...
No,
Oh, huge knockup from
two men.
Ziploc.
It's a two-man
And this will
kill.
just be a
Another
cleanup.
kill.
Extormark rolling through the team, but here comes IQ and Sickdot.
Stormark flashes over the wall. Doesn't look like he's going to be taken down. No, he's going to be taken down. That's going to be another kill down for Cloudy Smiled. And it looks like he's going to just Living Shadow over the wall. It's going to be a final kill. 4 for 2 in favor of blue team. And it looks like they're willing to just take these dragon trades in order to win these fights. And if you look topside, Dumping Potato is still split pushing, but it doesn't look like he's going to get anything much out of this.
Interesting decision to split push top as Ahri. Like I said, they're relying on Dumping Potato to land his E because that's like the only real like CC they have on the team. So if
That's the
Dumping
Narland.
Potato's not there for the to land the charm, then Zed and Kaz kind of get a free engage.
And we just
They
kind of
only
see
need to worry
here
about
this
this
mid gap is just growing bigger and bigger because we see that Sickdot is in. He's part of all these skirmishes. He's roaming. We saw that in the last game when he was on the Twisted Fate. And Dumping Potato just kind of he takes that tier 3 outer, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really not much.
Yeah.
But if we look towards how that team fight went, it didn't go all bad. Stormark did manage to get the cash in, and he's now received back into that 1,000 gold lead over the counterpart there. He's finished his rapid fire cannon. Kind of strange that he's not building towards a Bloodthirster.
Yeah, I do think he should have gone for that Bloodthirster second item.
Yeah, he wants that IE for the burst damage.
I can understand the IE for the burst damage, but considering that the enemy team is pretty squishy, I feel like you could delay the IE a bit just so you get the sustain.
Yeah, definitely, because IE now is more of like a tank shredder item. It still has burst because it doubles your crit chance, but I do think that after the Storm Razor, he should have just instantly started building that Bloodthirster because he loses out on so much damage here.
Not only just damage, but sustain. If he builds Bloodthirster, that certain one-shot potential that Zed has just from death marking him suddenly goes down to a 50-50 because if he can find targets to auto attack, the Bloodthirster will be able to heal him back up to a certain amount of HP where the death mark will not be able to finish him off.
I think the reasoning is that he puts his faith in the Tom Kench that when he gets death marked, Tom Kench would just eat him and that would be like his sustain, and that's probably his reason for going for the IE instead of the Bloodthirster.
Yeah, I could see that being a solid reason.
Because just like last game, he didn't get the QSS because Braum got Mikhail's, but because like the way they team fight and they position, they don't really like benefit from like their own like picks and stuff. Like I said like earlier, Ahri has the charm, and that's like their only real form of CC. But she was split pushing top, and so they went for that pretty. They went into that team fight pretty confident there down at Dragon, and that actually gave a decent lead back to. Kali Smile.
I definitely
Okay, so
think that Dumping Potato's performance here, not quite the best that we could see. I really wish that he was with his team, like you said, but at the same time, it is a losing matchup for him with the Zed Ahri here. He was forced into that Zanya's early, so he can't actually buy Luden's Echo for that mana sustain. Just now finishing the Blasting Wand. So he's still pretty far off of Luden's Echo. He's sitting on 450 gold.
I really want to see how the team fights will turn out after Draven finishes his IE. And if it'll actually work out. And I'm pretty satisfied with the plays that Lee Sin is making.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I'm actually not against after he finished with Storm Razor. I think had he gone for Death's Dance, that would not have been bad.
So
Yura,
a key
hold on.
point into this game.
The Herald on Yura has 10 seconds left right now.
He's gonna use the ball lane.
He's gonna use a period, right? Yeah, he's using it.
Alright, so that just kind of gets thrown out there. I would have liked to see it drop mid. You think they have the pressure to support it? Sydney Jane catching out I-Dunk here. The charm not quite on the land. Whoa, dumping potato ult so aggressively here, and he's going to get punished so
he's
hard
gonna be
for
taken
that.
down. That's gonna be a kill. This could possibly be Baron if they decide to churn on it.
And the pings go down.
Yeah,
They should actually be able to take this. Because
So the
Blue
only
Claw
thing
is
that they
the
can
bot
do
lane, he has
here is
teleport.
that Sydney Jang is gonna have to try and go for a steal. They do hold the Tom Kins to get him
Yeah.
out safely.
Dar might
And
actually
he's gonna be there.
Queen's Rage. He could TP in right now. They're placing much worse for him to TP into. He's gonna TP, and he has the Rage bar.
He is Mega right now.
Beaston
He is
is
Mega.
very successful at stealing. He's gotta Q it now.
He's gonna, yeah, they gotta jump
Oh,
in.
the
No
smite not
smite.
quite going down.
That's gonna be a
huge
fine
knock up
stun
here.
into the Gnar. That's gonna be two
Gnar.
immediately taken down.
That's two
Gnar's
kills.
gonna be
right?
into the pit. It looks like
Now.
two's gonna be taken down. X-Stormark trying to
They're
follow
gonna
into this.
They're gonna keep chasing.
They have no vision
They
of the
have no
bush though. If they
vision.
decide to turn on this, they might have to turn. They get the vision on the bush. I don't think gonna try to get something onto X-Stormark. X-Stormark manages to toss an axe out, gets some poke onto Soonchang. Soonchang's gonna be forced to jump out of here. He gets to stand
Oh,
aside
here's
on
the
Sickdot.
stun.
Sickdot.
Sickdot, and
Gets
that's
two
two
hits.
autos.
It looks like one gonna be taken down immediately. The cash in and a shutdown's gonna be going over to X-Stormark, and that's gonna be a lot of gold over to the Draven.
I do think had Sydney Jing jumped in there a little bit earlier, he may have had a chance at stealing that Baron. I really don't like Luclaw's positioning on the teleport there. I feel that had he teleported into the pit, he would have been able, that would have gone much more cleaner. He should have been able to knock all 5 of them against the wall a lot earlier than he actually did after the Baron was taken.
I think
But
what you're saying
Nathan,
is that, yeah, if he TP'd
You gotta
into
consider
it,
that he
would've
still
just
got
walked
the
away.
5-man Gnar ultimate.
Like,
Yeah.
it
And
did
that
go
really
down, but
salvaged
that
that.
was after the Baron. I think that had it gone down, like while the Baron was up, Sydney Jing may have had a chance to take it away.
But considering all the circumstances, that is quite possibly some of the best things that could have happened to them.
Right, that's
The
a
gap
3 for
from
3.
Draven to Lucian's
4
ult
for 3,
is way, way bigger after that fight. Now.
Right, so now X-Stormark sitting on 2,700 gold to spend. Let's see what he buys. And it is the IE. It's
Yeah.
not the Bloodthirster, it's the IE.
Looks like he's going for the Bloodthirster now.
So
Or it could
up until
be
this point,
a Mercurial.
X-Stormark has actually not had any lifesteal whatsoever.
What are you talking about? That Tom Kench is the lifesteal.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, he's really relying on Tom Kench for sustain.
Oh, with the Relic Shield?
No, no flame, but
no, just
I'm
the
just gonna
W.
say Tom Kench has not traded out his support or his trinket item yet.
They
As
all
a-
have-
Alright,
former
Sydney Jing
support
is
player,
actually a
that
little
is
bit caught
right.
out here. Okay, the initiation comes down from URA, and that's a
No
really
ulti gonna
clean
be
kill.
taken out, and it looks like it's just Sydney Jane going down. No Dragon's Rage coming out, and it looks like they're just gonna split push bot, I think.
And
Nope,
again,
they're gonna back
if
off.
we actually go back to vision here, now we see that Goys has a lot better vision than Cloudy Smile actually does. Because right now, they have no reason to actually push into enemy jungle because of the Baron buff from Cloudy Smile. But we see that there was a lot of vision up until this point where URL kind of moved in with the Duskblade to secure some vision here. But they had a lot of vision in their bottom side jungle.
I'm pretty disappointed that Goys don't really tend to like control wards or sweeping lanes. And then you can tell that Cloudy Smile actually does kind of pay attention to like their vision control of the map, especially Yora. He does go into the jungle a lot and look to clear any wards that might be there.
So if you do look at Bagoy's vision, they do have it in key points. They have it in that pixel brush and top side where to make sure that they don't get death brushed. They have it at that red buff to make sure that they can see if anyone's going in between their top jungle. They do have vision and they did have vision in the bottom lane jungle.
Whoa.
Alright,
Sydney
here
Jane
comes an engage.
easy,
Ziplock back,
dude.
finding the stun. It doesn't look like
4
the
members
teams are
of
committing.
Bagoy's bot lane.
Garen's just gonna keep pushing top. Does he have TP? Yes, he does.
Luke Claw does not have TP already. They should just go for the dragon, take this dragon, and then immediately back, try to stop the Garen split push. This could go very wrong since Luke Claw does not have TP. Garen TP is still up. Garen takes down the turret, and he's looking for a TP avenue.
Oh, when it goes
Manages
over
to get the dragon.
to
Looks
Goys,
like
but
they're gonna be
now
flashing forward.
X-Stormark caught out!
Grandma
He is
manages to get the
consumed!
Devourer on. Kick.
Whoa, and this is a
Beautiful
clean
kick.
disengage.
Goes through 3 members of the blue team, and it looks like they're able to get the dragon and get out cleanly. 3 dragons going over to Bagoys, and that looks like it's gonna be just really good stalling from Bagoys. They got the Baron, or Cloudy Smiles got the Baron, but Big Boys have stalled this game out perfectly to the point where that Baron's pretty much negligible at this point.
That was a pretty questionable teleport from Garen there. He teleported to the Tribush down when they were...
goes in, but he doesn't look like he's gonna get anything else out of this. 5 members in mid lane. Soon Chang's trying to back out of this. Signy Jang does land another Q. He might go in on this.
Luke Claw still chasing, and now Signy Jang with the follow-up, and X-Stormer picks up that kill.
And X-Stormer gets a pick onto the Taric. Soon Chang, Luke Claw still going on forward, but it doesn't look like anything else is going to come out of this. 5 members strong. Red team will try to push down this mid turret.
And now this gold gap is getting more and more close. We saw that at one point. Cloudy Smile was up, I believe, 8,000 gold, but now it's gone down to like just about 5,000. We do see here that we have the members of Goys having this kind of 4-1 push. They want to group up around their Draven because that's their main damage source. What they're looking for is a hero engage from Signy Jang or a charm from Dumping Potato. But as of now, Dumping Potato has done really little to actually help his team. All he's done is wave clear and split push a little bit. But he is.
I think you're sleeping on the Gnar. The Gnar has actually put a lot of effort into this game. He's gotten multiple huge Mega Gnars that's just able to turn around team fights. He got that 5-man Gnar at the Baron Pit, which just pretty much negated any power play that they could have achieved from that. So Luke Claw definitely putting out a very strong performance in this game.
Alright, so now we see Dumping Potato picked up the Luden's Echo finally 28 minutes into the game. And he doesn't have 3 items yet. But that is a really nice kick from Signy Jang onto Soon Chang. Let's see if Soon Chang can get out of this one alive. It looks like he actually might. Dumping Potato actually disengages all the way out. And now he's going to go down to URA.
Yeah, Dumping Potato goes down immediately to the URA jump. Kha'Zix manages to pick up another kill. Zed does not have Death Mark, however, and it looks like Red Team tried to reset this lane.
That is actually a really questionable play from Dumping Potato there. He actually ulted into the backline, then like disengaged out. So essentially all his damage was 2 Ahri ultimates and not even a charm or a W.
Yeah, I feel like if Dumping Potato really just wanted to put as much damage as he could, he would have just gone in, put down 2 Ahri ultimates, and then ulted back toward his team.
I also want to mention that he did have the Zhonya's up as well.
I mean, to be fair, Zanya's wouldn't have really gotten him out of that situation after that. But as we can see, Red Team trying to reset. They still have all of their inhib turrets up. This is very important. As long as they keep these inhib turrets, these inhibs are the key to the game. So long as they remain up, Red Team does have a solid chance at winning.
And I do want to point out here that Big Boys is sitting on 2 Mountain Drakes and an Ocean Drake.
Baron buff up in 5 seconds. Getting mid priority.
We saw that really nice kick onto Soon Chang, but unfortunately his team actually wasn't able to really take advantage of that, because even though Signy Jang gets that kickoff, Dumping Potato doesn't actually harm him. And now URA in the bush. That's an insta-kill on X-Storm. That might be Dumping Potato to follow, and Signy Jang should be going down here to Sigdot.
Gonna still go down.
Oh, the Triumph actually saves him here. Charm lands onto Kha'Zix.
Kha'Zix goes down. Dumping Potato manages to pick up another kill. I don't keep forward, gets the kill onto Ahri. It looks like he's gonna be stuck onto the side of the wall.
Gonna miss the stun.
Tahm Kench chasing, running away. And it looks like it's just gonna be stopped at a 2 for 2.
And I want to
Signy
point
Jang
out
actually does pick up the kill onto Sigdot.
That URA, that was some incredible patience there from X-Storm, because Signy Jang walks up first, and he goes to check the Baron, and then X-Storm comes to follow, but he didn't actually engage onto Signy Jang. He just kind of sat in the bush and then waited for X-Storm to walk up, and then he got the auto off with the Dustblade and the passive.
You really do got a question, however. Why is Goys walking up into Baron without their main disengaged tools?
Exactly. Signy Jang doesn't exactly have the Dragon Blade up yet, but here comes Scramwell.
It's gonna be the sacrificial lamp into this team fight. Luke Claw manages to go mega, gets a kill. Stormark's gonna pick that one up, and it looks like it's gonna be a 5 versus 4 team fight, sorry, for the next minute or so. And it looks like Red Team's not gonna try to put some priority on Baron. This is a big mistake, actually, considering that Red Team does have the numbers advantage for the next few seconds or so.
No, the problem we see here is that Dumping Potato is going bot once again, so they actually don't have the pressure that they need to get onto Baron.
Not only that, I'm still disappointed that Red Team isn't buying any controllers, any sweeping lens. They can't get the vision control of this Baron.
What are you talking about? The support has controllers. That's all they need.
Well,
one control ward.
not quite enough there.
Yeah.
I really am questioning the fact that Scramwell doesn't have a sweeper 32 minutes into the game with a completed site team.
Yeah, it's really just bothering me to no end right now.
Exactly.
We see not only 2 sweepers from the side of Cloudy Smile, but also both of the Duskblades on the mid laner and the jungler.
Yeah, I was talking about this earlier. Like, it seems like Cloudy Smile does pay attention to like the vision control, but like, it's just not even a concern for Goys.
It's not that it's not a concern. Goys really seems to be in the mindset that they only need to retrieve vision. They don't really need to deny it. Sydney Jing lands the Q onto Ziploc Bag. Ziploc Bag is stuns him, manages to get out of that pretty safely. It looks like they are going to be
Whoa, X-Storm, I'm so cut out here.
Gets flashed.
Scramble
picked up
forced to
by
bail
Scramble,
his
flashes
ADC
out.
straight out. Zoom
But it looks
into
like they're going to
Flash.
be forced to sacrifice the dragon in return of this, unless they get the steal, but it doesn't look like anything's going to come out of that. And Cloudy Smiles pick up their first dragon of the game.
I also just noticed that Tom Kench opted out for Ignite instead of Exhaust, despite the Zeta and the Kha'Zix pick.
I do want to point out here that the gold lead on X-Stormark has just about stabilized with Supreme. He's only 400 gold up now. That's it.
500.
Yeah.
Oh, they're starting Baron. This could be very bad for Goys if they do not get on this.
And this is actually a
All four
two-man.
members of Goys
This is a
are on
two-man
bot
Baron.
side.
They have
There is
no vision of
knowledge.
anything.
They just now realized that they were on Baron and they're rotating up, but it doesn't look like they'll be here on time. Tom Kitch manages to ult again, but he doesn't take it. Oh, he manages to take Dumping Potato. This could be a very big team fight in the next few seconds.
Sydney
is
Jang,
here.
you need
He
this
gets the
hero
vision.
play right
he
now.
needs to try and steal this. He
No,
cues
not
in,
the-
manages.
And the Baron goes over once again to URA. Sydney Jang
Nar
just
doesn't have Mega-
completely
Nar, yeah.
dies there.
Lose the Baron, lose your jungler. This could possibly be the end-all situation for Goys in terms of how bad this game could have gone from a single misplay, a single misposition in terms of teams. But you
And
have
Sydney
to
Jang,
give.
they're just like, honestly, that all came down to him. I do think that he had a reasonable shot at a steal there, especially with the Q execute.
I can give him a little bit of leeway considering that the enemy jungler is a Kha'Zix, one of the other best securing junglers in the game. But you do have to give Cloudy Smiles credit where it's due. They saw that Goys' team was bot side, and they made the call to pull the trigger on the Baron, and made sure that while Goys was bot side, they did get a bunch of damage onto the Baron, and even manages to pick it up, and a kill on Sydney Jang. Here we see that IDonQ is in the mid lane trying to take down a turret. He does manage to take it down. Sydney Jane lands a Q.
This will be an
Throws in more health
overextend,
into
but that is
Ashley.
a beautiful
Looks like
kick from Sydney
IDonQ
Jang.
is gonna be taken down anytime soon. His team is coming to back him up. He is almost manages to take down X-Stormark, and he manages to get out. A 3-man stun comes out of Luke Claw, but it doesn't look like his team is going to be able to follow up. That's going to be a kill down. IDonQ picks that one up on the Luke Claw. It looks like URA is going to try to pick up a second one onto Dumping Potato. Charm goes out, manages to pick up URA. Inhib goes down. And this could be Cloudy Smiles picking up the second game and just flat out winning.
Yeah, I think they can just end it right here.
5
We
members
need to
strong.
see some
It's not the second
proactivity
minute.
here. Whoa,
Sucheng
Sucheng going up
no,
so
he-
far
Sucheng
Sucheng
there.
walks up forward. X-Stormark manages to punish him with a bunch of damage coming out, but Sucheng is rotating top with the rest of his team. X-Stormark walking forward, trying to get some damage on the Ziploc Bag, but Ziploc Bag will not be deterred. Blue team, 5-man strong, still will be trying to take down this top inhib. If this inhib gets taken down, this could very well be the end of the game for Goys.
I feel like during like laning phase wise, they were focusing on Dream, but team fight wise, they're not really considering like Draven at all. I feel like Tom Kench and Ari should be sticking next to Draven more when they dive onto him, but that's not really happening.
I'm just very disappointed in Dumping Potato's performance this game because not only does he have the lowest kill participation in his team, he's actually not finding these crucial charms that we talked about.
Exactly,
in
yeah.
Select.
And if
It's
we
like-
look across the board in gold, Dumping Potato is down 5,000 gold.
when you pick Ari, you're picking her mainly for this pick potential, this assassination,
Okay.
where you could just kind of... Okay, Sydney Jane cut out here, the stairs is popped. Luke Claw also cut out by
All gonna
Sigdon.
miss the ulti.
But as I was saying, when you pick Ari, you are reliant on that charm. You need to be able to like solo out a target and just wipe them off of the map. But Dumping Potato, not only does he not have the goal to do it, he's just not actually landing the charms as well.
Yeah, it's even more important for this Ari because she's like I said like a billion times, she's like their only form of like real CC.
I definitely think had Dumping Potato picked a different champion, like perhaps Malzahar or Lissandra, this game would be going a little bit differently.
Point and click CC.
Yeah, it was quite simple that Dumping Potato was being outclassed in the first game. Get him onto some champion that where he doesn't need to use mechanical billions. Get him onto a press R champion, Galio, Malzahar, any champion where you can just press R and have an impact into the game seems like something that they would want to get him onto.
Alright, so this
Here
third
we see Booty trying to
inhibitor,
kick down this top
the
tier. This top
target
tier's going
for
very
Cloudy
low.
Smile.
Claw jumps forward, tries to get a kill onto IDonQ, but he doesn't look like he's going to be able to
Kansas
stack
is just
onto
going for the end.
Kosk is going for the Nexus along with Tarek and Lucian. They roll onto the Nexus turrets. Zed and Garen are trying to stop them from going back. Zed using the Death Mark onto the Dinar. They're just going to take down very low. Death Mark manages to pick him up. That's going to be a kill onto the Dinar. Triamo's going to be close to follow. Calling finishes him off. That's going to be 2 kills for Cloudy Smiles. This looks like it's going to be the end of the game. City Jane goes in, manages to get a kick on the Garen.
Another beautiful kick. That's a 4-man kick, but there's just no follow-up.
URA jumps onto City Jane. City Jane goes down immediately. That's 3 kills for Butane. It looks like it's going to be a 4th. Xstormark walks forward. The GA will be popped almost immediately. And it looks like he's going to be taken out right out of the GA. Dumping Potato sitting on the Nexus. And it looks like he will be taken down as well. A clean ace. 5 for 1 and the Nexus. And it looks like that's going to be the end of the series going over in favor of Cloudy Smiles.
So where do you think everything went wrong? From that early goal lead, 1,000 goal lead, to just being completely stabilized, where did it like all go wrong? Like, where did you think it started from?
I definitely think that after Xstormark got that lead, his team should have played so much more. Like, Sydney Jang should have never showed top after that. He should have just constantly been ganking and re-ganking the bot lane, because what should have happened there is after they got the initial gank and based for the reset, Xstormark picked up a BF sword and 2 long swords. So after that, Sydney Jang, what he should have done, he should have cleared his bot side. He should have gone gank for another gank onto the lane because they had their summoners up. So he should have popped their summoners first. Then he should have invaded into the bot side because Xstormark has lane priority. He has that huge AD advantage, but we just didn't see that. We saw Sydney Jang go into the mid lane, not really get a gank. In fact, he actually died to Yara and Sickdot. And then he went top, got a kill on top for Luke Claw, but that actually doesn't translate to much in the grand scheme of things.
And I think that Xstormark, while him not snowballing, I think the main story of Goys this game was play to not lose instead of playing to win. They didn't really try to extend their leads. They just tried to avoid bleeding out any more objectives than they needed to. And in doing so, they sort of just threw away the game and the lead that they had accumulated within the first 10 minutes. Meanwhile, if you look at Cloudy Smiles, they were always on the offensive. They were always looking for plays to make. URA managed to get 4 separate kills onto the top side of the map. If you look bot side, you have Sooncheng and Ziplabog just trying to make sure that Xstormark doesn't snowball this lane into just a 1v9 nightmare. Sickdot and URA are also keeping pressure on mid at all times, making sure that that point of the map is always in their favor. And by the end of the day, you just have to think Cloudy Smiles out-executed Goys in terms of macro play, where on the map they needed to put some pressure onto, and overall just snowballing their lanes that they needed to snowball.
What do you think about like the drafting for the game? Like, do you think it was like okay for them to pick Gnar and Lee as first second pick?
While I do have some questions about it, I do not think the draft cost them the game. I don't think drafts will lose you the game outright. I feel like there were more open picks that you could have just chosen instead of the Lee Sin, instead of the Gnar. But then again, the Gnar did show that he had pressure in the lane, most obviously being the 5-man Gnar ultimate at Baron Pit. And Lee Sin did show that he had early game presence. He did get some ganks off onto the mid lane, onto the top lane, onto bot lane, getting those lanes some sort of lead. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to execution, and Goys just weren't ready to execute on the picks that they had crafted for themselves.
Alright, so it does look like our final match then. The absolute final, best of 5, will be Jimbo Bad versus Cloudy Smile. This is a really hyped up match here. We have, this is supposed to be one of the closest games ever because we have Jimbo Bad. They have a star mid laner. They have Real Zero. He's notorious on that Malzahar, notorious on that Anivia. He's actually the number 2 Malzahar in NA, I believe. On top of that, though, they do have jungler Dyrex, Danny Kim. He is also relatively high elo. He's sitting around like plat 1, I believe. So we do have a stronger matchup than we did in Goys' side. And Cloudy Smile, we saw this really great performance from Sickdot and Ura, that mid 2v2 skirmish combo. We're going to have to see if Jimbo Bag can actually stand up to that.
But then again, if we look at Cloudy Smiles, they do have a very strong jungle mid synergy. You could see that shine through in both games, where the jungle and mid were just consistently winning the 2v2 matchups. And in terms of bot lane, while they didn't get a lead and managed to just take over that bot side of the map altogether, they did manage to stop the bleeding from a Fed Draven, which is in no small feat of itself.
Right, so I want to talk about damage charts again, because we touched on that last game when Dumping Potato was on Vel'Koz, and he was out damaged by his jungler and his top lane. And we see that again. We see him on Ahri, one of the best in and out assassinating champions in the game, getting out damaged by a Gnar and a Lee Sin. I feel that had he played a little bit better, the game should have been closer, maybe even a win for Goys, but in the end, it came down to Sickdot's and Ura's better 2v2 skirmish.
I feel like what this draft really comes down to is the mid lane pick, really, because we saw in the draft that although that there were some bans targeted towards each other's teams, the top 3 picks of the top jungle and mid for Cloudy Smile were picked before the mid lane was for Goys, and Goys had all the opportunity in the world to get a counter pick in there, and they decided to instead go for the Ahri instead of something like a Galio or a Malzahar, or something that could easily wave clear and protect the carries or lock down an enemy carry. So I feel like the Ahri pick sort of could have been something much, much greater than what it was.
Right. I definitely, I would not have been against a Malzahar. I wouldn't have been against a Lissandra. Some sort of control even Annie probably would have been better than Ahri. But overall, it was a pretty close series, especially in the early game, even though it was a 2-0. And I can't say that it was a really fun 2 set of games.
It wasn't completely one-sided. However, you could tell that Goys were just outclassed across the board once it came to mid macro game and late game team fighting.
Right. So to the viewers, we aren't sure when the finals are going to be played. They may be played tomorrow, but this is going to be a really hype match. Make sure to spread the word on that. And that is all we have for today. So Body Smile taking the 2-0 victory over Goys. Goys will be going over into the 3rd place match to play against Apes. And that should be a pretty close matchup as well. So until next time, we will be turning off the stream here.